a top quarterback in the country, top 3 quarterback in the country, George MacIntyre, gave his verbal commitment to the Tennessee Volunteers. That was massive. Massive for a number of reasons for the 2025 class. One, George MacIntyre is a dude. Okay, like I said, he plays like 10 minutes away from where we're live right now. Smooth in every single sense of the word. As an athlete, as a thrower of the football, like I went and watched him play against Brentwood, little crosstown rival action, and watching that dude in warm-ups, I mean, it's just effortless watching him throw the football. He's throwing the ball like 30 yards, which is perfect arc, right in the bread basket. Like, dude is smooth. Also a good athlete. I mean, he's 6'6"-ish, and he can get up there and throw it down as a basketball player. So a lot of reason to be excited, and a very obvious why he's a top 3 quarterback in the country in the class of 2025. Now has a full calendar year, more or less, until that early signing period to try and bring some guys with him to Knoxville. So from a macro level, let's just call a spade here. Josh Heupel is really freaking good at recruiting quarterbacks. Nico Iamaleava from the 2023 class, our top player here at On3 from that cycle. Jake Merklinger from the 2024 cycle, another stud. And now George MacIntyre from the 2025 class. Why is Josh Heupel so good at recruiting quarterbacks? Why is he consistently knocking it out of the park at that position group? I think there's a couple of factors to this, but I think probably most importantly, Josh Heupel is able to speak the language for these quarterback recruits. And what I mean by that is playing quarterback at the collegiate level, the pressures and the complexities that come with that, man, I think it's unlike anything else in sports. And so to have your head coach, as he recruits you, be able to speak in those terms and within that context of understanding. There's a study that shows that understanding is one of the focal points of building a relationship. And what is recruiting about? People in the back row are shouting NIL. Does that play a part? Sure. But at the end of the day, I still believe recruiting is about relationships. And so for Josh Heupel to be able to have a unique relationship with these quarterbacks, saying, hey, I played at a high level. I get what it's like. I know what it's like at Tennessee. You think anybody has more pressure on their shoulders in Knoxville than the head coach? So to be able to have that back and forth in that relationship, I think is a big factor in why they're landing some of these top guys, and most recently, George MacIntyre. Now, to go with that, what is another key piece of these kids when it comes to recruitment? Back row, once again, shouting NIL. I hear you. We understand that. We acknowledge that. But also development. I think most kids with good counsel across the board are looking for a place where they can improve as a player and set themselves up to make some real money in the NFL on top of what they probably made at the NIL level. And to be real now for Tennessee, Josh Heupel develops his guys. And it's not just something you're saying. It's not just something that you're putting on a T-shirt. Like, you're seeing this now from a couple of different quarterbacks that have come through Knoxville and played for Josh Heupel. Hendon Hooker is a great example. You always saw the ability for him early in his career at Virginia Tech. Kind of struggled at different points. Couldn't really ever get it going. Transfers out to Tennessee. And in 2 years in Tennessee, has his best completion percentage of his career, back-to-back years, right around 69%. Previously was right in that 63 percentile, and then becomes a top 3-round pick. So he went from struggling to win the starting job at Virginia Tech to transferring and being a top 3-round pick, and really was a Heisman Trophy contender until he got hurt. A lot of that is Josh Heupel's system. A lot of that is Josh Heupel's development. And Hendon Hooker being able to lean into that is obviously a huge part of it. That's not to take anything away from Hendon Hooker, but I think if you're watching at the high school level and saying, okay, Hendon Hooker before Josh Heupel and after Josh Heupel, yeah, I think I feel pretty good about going and trusting him with my future and my development. Joe Milton, also a great example. And Joe Milton, people are going to have a strong opinion on and say, well, he didn't do what Hendon Hooker did. Yeah, different player than Hendon Hooker. You probably had aspirations for a New Year's Six Bowl yet again if you're a Tennessee fan, and that didn't happen. But still, I think Joe Milton improved tremendously from the time he got to Tennessee to now him going and being an NFL draft pick. He struggled at Michigan, y'all. There's a reason he transferred out of Michigan. He also struggled early on in his career at Tennessee. But the fact that he chose to stay at Tennessee, I think speaks volumes to how Joe Milton feels about Josh Heupel. I think it speaks volumes to Joe Milton, how he felt about his development under Josh Heupel. And then you look at what he did once he got back on the field at Tennessee, had a completion percentage of 65%, and played within an offense under Josh Heupel that was very clearly adapted to his skill set. That's another big part of this. Josh Heupel has a good understanding of his quarterbacks and what they do well, and he caters the offense to it. So it's not an offense that's confined to one kind of player or one kind of skill set. He's like, whatever you do well, we're going to put you in position to be successful. Joe Milton, I think, had 7 rushing touchdowns was somewhere in the range of a 20-5 touchdown interception ratio, throwing the football just shy of 3,000 yards. Like, statistically, had a pretty good season. Tennessee wanted a better year overall, but Joe Milton, from what he was when he got to Tennessee, being labeled inefficient and overthrow Joe, to leaving, throwing 65% of his passes as a completion, I think that's tremendous progress, and I think Joe Milton's a better quarterback because of his time under Josh Heupel, and I think he would tell you the same. So now if you recruit, I think you understand, if I go to Tennessee, by nature of what these cats have done there, I will get better as a quarterback. And if I get better as a quarterback, and I'm already really talented, I will set myself up for success at the NFL level. And we got to say this now, too. Like, the system itself from a quarterback, man, like, it's a fun offense to play in. It's a fun offense to play in. Not because you're throwing it all around the yard and you're just an aerial attack all day long. No, the fact that it complements your skill set and takes some pressure off of you to where we're going to run the football, we're going to go up tempo, we're going to create matchups for our skill players. We're also going to recruit great skill players like a Mike Matthews. Shout out Mike Matthews, elite player. You're going to be able to put up big numbers, win a lot of football games, and set yourself up for the next level. Like, nothing at Tennessee is wildly complex when it comes to what they ask you to do as a quarterback. We're not giving you a million different, words as your play call, or we're not asking you to do a million different things. They're putting a lot on your plate. Don't get it twisted. It's still a tough position to play, but I mean, by nature of the throw they're asking you to make that deep shot throw. Be consistent in the intermediate game. Be able to get us lined up. Just function the offense. Run the offense how we need you to run it. We're going to score a lot of points. You're going to shine. We're going to shine. We all win together. So when I talk about the verbiage for Tennessee and the play call, I'm not telling you I have any insight into how they're calling their plays, but I am saying I think by nature of the offense, you do what they ask you to do, you do it effectively, everybody wins. Everybody wins, and you put up big numbers. So Hendon Hooker, again, another example of that. So Josh Heupel, quarterback whisper, landing 3 elite quarterbacks in back-to-back-to-back years. George McIntyre, the most recent land for Josh Heupel. But if you have a quarterback now at Tennessee, if you can have one of those elite guys year in and year out, as a Tennessee fan, you feel pretty good that you have the non-negotiable for success in college football at the Tier 1 level. Like, let's be real here. If you have a quarterback, you have a chance. Look at the college football playoff field this last year. You had Quinn Ewers, you had Jalen Milroe, you had Michael Penix Jr., you had J.J. McCarthy. All 4 different players, but all 4 elite at what they did within their respective systems. You have to have that to win the college football playoff nowadays. You have to have it. And so how Josh Heupel is stacking these top quarterbacks, you feel pretty good that you'll have it now for years to come in Knoxville. So keep an eye on those guys. Keep an eye on Nico this year, obviously. I think he's going to have a tremendous season. Be fun to watch, but very, very big get for Josh Heupel and his quarterback for 2025. And par for the course, another top dude in the country. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.